don't know about you, but I do almost anything and everything to avoid pain, at all costs. But a hard truth to swallow is that often the worst pain in your life can yield the biggest lessons and ultimately purpose. Pain is relative, both emotional and physical pain. People are built differently and uniquely, and we all have different pain thresholds. Something I might find really painful might not affect you in the same way. But I think we can all agree that there's some types of pain that just hit different and even can threaten to take us out completely. Today we will be exploring one side of pain and the lessons you can learn that, dare I say it, can make us better people because of it, if we let it. Don't get me wrong, there is a lot of bad pain. We live in a broken world, and I don't want to take away from any traumas that some of us have had to walk through, but I'd also like to humbly argue that even the worst types of pain can be your biggest teacher in life. Maybe even opening the door for you to help someone else in a way only you know how, because you've been through similar pain. Ultimately, you could even help save a life. Some of you might not have liked what I just said, and I get it. Maybe you or a loved one have experienced inexplicable pain, and that can be very hard to either watch or to go through. I would still respectfully say that even something small, that can come from the most tragic and painful experiences of our lives. And this is coming from someone who I've experienced a lot of different types of pain in my life. Even things that probably less than a handful of people on this earth know. So I don't want you to think I'm not right there in the trenches with you. I am, I get it. I just ask you be open to hearing about some lessons that I've learned and how pain has helped me become a better person because of it. To set the tone, I'd like to share a life-changing quote that's really helped me, inspired me, and challenged me. This is by an incredibly inspirational woman, Katherine Wolf, who has endured a life-changing stroke and so many complications and so much pain that has come from that. Don't waste your pain. Cherish it. Suffering is hardcore awful. Any kind, any type. But let it be your tutor. Let it teach you things about what really matters in life and who really matters to you. Don't let the world tell you that suffering is the end of your story. It's the beginning of a better story. So let's talk about physical pain. Stats show that 30% of the entire world are dealing with chronic physical pain right now. Do you know how many people that is? That's about 2.5 billion people going through chronic pain right now. It's also likely that a large portion of that group will have to deal with pain for the long term. As some of you know, I deal with several disabling medical conditions, and chronic pain is a big part of that. I've been in constant pain for over 7 years as of recording this. No days off, no breaks. There is not a point in my day that I'm not in pain. Honestly, I can't remember what it was like to feel well or to not be in pain because it's been so long. Pain has definitely become a really big part of my everyday life. At some point, maybe a few years in, I decided that if this was going to be my life from now on, that something good had to come out of it. I actually think my health situation is a huge reason why this channel was born in the first place. But it took me years of learning some really hard lessons before this was able to happen, to be able to walk and sometimes crawl to the point where I am today, and ultimately have some kind of authority on all of this. But let me stress, I'm not saying I know everything. I do not by a long shot. I'm still learning every day, and I don't always get it right. So some practical lessons that I've learned in dealing with chronic pain over the last few years that I'd like to inspire and to challenge you with. First lesson: stop having a 1-year, 5-year, or 10-year ironclad plan. Ditch the plan and take each day as it comes. I'm not saying don't have goals, don't have dreams, don't have aspirations. Definitely do have all of those, but do it through a healthy mindset of taking one day at a time, and also learn to go with the flow. Be open. The only thing that the 5 and 10-year plan I made when I was 20 gave me was a deep feeling of failure when I never came close to what I thought I should want in life. Some of these world milestones we discuss in my life lessons from turning 30 video. Feeling like you have to follow what the world says is normal might actually be taking you away from your purpose. Lesson number 2. I learned that actually a lot of physical pain is invisible, especially in the chronic illness world. People can look on my Instagram, you'll see me on YouTube and think, she's fine, there's nothing wrong with her. But you don't know the amount of severe pain I suffer just going through the filming process itself. My body is going to collapse in exhaustion in probably about half an hour. It's easy to assume things of others when you've never had to walk through constant physical pain or maybe chronic illness. Because honestly, you're probably going to be blind to it if you've never gone through it yourself. Be open to the fact that people might be in a world of pain and you will probably never get to see it. But that doesn't mean that it's not there. Always stay compassionate and never assume. Lesson number 3 is something you can probably incorporate in your life right now, whether you're going through physical pain or not. And that is simply the word no. I've always prided myself for being reliable and being someone that others can depend on. But I learned, especially over the last few years of being sick and in a lot of pain, I learned that it was okay to say no. Now, from a chronic illness perspective, I spent probably the first 3 years of being sick thinking that I had to power through and do what was asked or expected of me. I felt like if I tried to run at everyone else's pace, that maybe one day I'd wake up and have overcome all my health issues by sheer willpower. No. Please don't be me. Please don't do that to yourself. I fully regret doing that. Because if you have that unhealthy mindset, you are going to put yourself through even worse pain. You might make yourself even physically worse or cause permanent damage. Listen to your body. The only pace you should run at is the pace you set for yourself. You're not running against anyone else. You're not in competition with anyone else. There's a quote that I learned from the Think Media bootcamp that I'm on, and it's your race, your pace. You get to set the pace. Now, if you're someone that experiences flare-ups of pain, then you need to make sure that when that flare starts to happen, you hit the brakes and you really take care of yourself. Usually that means a lot of resting, self-care, and saying no to other people. And guess what? You don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to always give a reason why. You don't have to excuse the fact that you're having to say no because you're having to rest and put your health first. My 4th lesson going through physical chronic pain also taught me to be more self-aware. Yes, it would not be a YouTube video without me dropping in self-awareness.
So how does that work, Tori?
I remember spending the first few years in denial of being sick. And I thought this pain will be a temporary thing. I will be back to normal soon and it'll all feel like just a bad dream. I was literally swimming in denial. And it wasn't until an appointment I think I had 4 years ago with one of my specialists that I felt the carpet literally be pulled right from under my feet. And this is when I posed a question about my future care to my consultant and trying to discuss the options that I had. And I would never forget her words. She said, "Tori, we don't see you ever being out of pain. Like, that's not the goal that we have here. Our goal is to give you the best quality of life that we can." Boy, when I tell you that hit me like a brick, it really came out of nowhere. It felt so jarring and so harsh. But it actually gave me the best gift to enable me to move forward.
You probably think, oh, that's weird.
Hear me out. My doctor gave me a huge reality check. And I'm a very practical person, and I usually like to know everything, like the good, the bad, and the ugly, so that I can figure out how to deal with whatever's going on. And that pragmatism has been a journey through my chronic pain and my chronic illness that's actually really helped me. That extra strong dose of reality made me realize that my life, my career path, my future would probably have to be adjusted in order for me to live the best life that I could. Now that I was a lot more self-aware about my situation and I wasn't being blindly or fake optimistic.
Like, oh, everything's going to work out, everything will be great. I'm going to wake up tomorrow and everything is just going to be splendid.
I went through a process of changing my dreams and my goals and being open to a different purpose for my life. Very different from the purpose I had planned for myself in my early 20s. It's not easy. It still hurts. Sometimes I even get really bummed out at thinking, I wish I could do this. I wish I could do that. I wish my life hadn't turned out this way. But I chose, and yes, I'm going to use the word choice. I chose to embrace it and actually make the most out of it. Who wants to be normal anyway? This last lesson comes with a bit of a trigger warning for a very upsetting subject, so proceed with caution. So the last lesson that I learned was, actually, I'm much stronger than I thought I was. Experiencing constant severe pain really pushes you to your limits. But even I got to a point, actually many points over the last 7 years, that the physical and emotional pain of my situation became too extreme and too constant, that even I felt like ending it all. And I mean that with all seriousness. This is not clickbait. This is just reality. And it's taken me a while to be as open as I'm being right now. You never think it's going to be you that feels this way until you reach a point where you just can't take it anymore. The light at the end of the tunnel full on disappears, and you don't know how you're going to survive another day of this. I'll be very transparent with you. Years and years ago, I used to judge people that thought about it or attempted to end their life. I didn't get it, but now I get it. I know what that hopelessness and that suffering feels like. And through this, I've chosen to allow my pain actually to change my heart from naively judging due to lack of understanding to being fully empathetic and compassionate for people who find themselves in that place. And honestly, if it wasn't for my faith in Jesus and how he sustained me and got me through all those moments of just wanting to end it all, I would not be here today if it wasn't for him. He is the only reason I am here. Don't get it twisted. I get a lot of comments like, oh, you're brave and you're strong and you're this and that. I'm not. I would have ended it all. And I'm not going to sit here and preach at you. But when I got to the point where I could not take it anymore, and again, like I said, this occurred a lot more than once, something happened and I got this strength and this peace that did not make sense. I can't explain it, but I know it was 1,000% not me. Jesus gave me the strength to keep going. I can't explain it, but it was and it is still so real to me. I learned in those moments that when it came down to it, my faith in Jesus literally became my life saver. So would I change my situation and the way that my life has turned out so far? I know I'm meant to say I wouldn't change anything. It's made me the person I am today, but I'm not brave enough to do that yet. I will say, however, that I have chosen to use that pain for purpose. For me, it makes it a little bit easier to carry, but by no means does it take it away, and it doesn't make it less costly, but it does make it worth it. If you are someone who's finding yourself in a position where you feel like you can't take anymore, then I would very much encourage you to call for help. Tell someone, tell a loved one, go to counseling, find someone, tell them. You are not alone. There are many people who silently suffer and go through feelings like this that you probably aren't even aware of. There are going to be people around you who understand and who want to come alongside you. Do not think that your life isn't worth it anymore because of how much pain you're in. And for me, counseling was a huge help in my life when it came to this. It is the best thing I think I've actually done for myself, and it's worth it. It's hard work, but it's worth it. And it really, really helped me. Thank you so much for choosing to hang out with me today. And I hope this video has either been encouraging, challenging, or comforting, that you are not alone in this.